Okay, maybe a Scandinavian. Saurav Memane from India. I kept taking, huh? Well, I could play e4 here. Let's see, where's the check? There's no check, actually. He takes. I can take back with check. What will he do? Block with the queen and then with trade queens? It might be pretty dull. How about if we just develop? Yeah, I decided to defend that pawn. Okay, anyway, I wanted to get the bishop outside the pawn chain before I played e6. And he's a trader, isn't he? Loves to trade. I could have slid back, I guess. But I didn't defend this. He played quickly, though. I think the rook is lost. The queen is out of play. The bishop is gone. The light squared bishop that might help him. Yeah, loses a whole rook. Let's get my queen out of jail first. That makes more sense, right? I could say we can say that white has good development. I'll get castled. Not sure what that is for. I want to develop this knight. He's trying to stop me, I suppose. So let's just put the queen over here. I'm threatening the knight on the back rank there. And I'll just trade queens otherwise. And then take his rook. That was a quick one. Here we can play another Blitz game. That was a little too blitzy even. Alex. Oh. I'm sorry, I was confused. Okay, we got a Caro-Kann here. Play the advanced variation. Or the short system. Just bring the knight out, the bishop out, and castle. Don't try to push this pawn or go after the bishop or anything too radical. But you do get this advanced vanguard pawn here. Now I could actually take on c5 with the knight here. That's kind of interesting. And then he could try and take here. I think I need to develop this knight first. Oh, I think I'd prefer to anyway. So he wants to trade for that knight. Okay, so let's kick the bishop. And I've got two defenders. He's got two attackers. Keeps this guy tied up. I can bring the bishop out. I can take with the pawn. So now this knight is not really going anywhere. Let's see. He's probably going to get castled. Let's. I want to prepare. Knight to that square. Let's get the queen off the back rank and defend this pawn, so when the knight moves, the queen won't take a pawn. Alex is moving kind of fast too, but not as fast as his predecessor. But he does have the same tendency to trade everything. Does he think this will be a bad bishop? I don't. Oh, well, that's a nice tactic. I take, but it doesn't work, does it? Oh, because he takes here with check. It does work. It does work. Okay, I guess I'll take here with a rook. So he won a pawn. I can double. See how he wants to defend here. Or he could just push that pawn, but he defends. Okay, I guess I'm going to start pushing pawns over on the queen side. Yeah, so I can push this pawn in the center, but then it's a problem. Problem with the E pawn. I mean, if I push the E pawn, the D pawn is hanging. So let's defend the D pawn. And we can bring this back. And he can put the queen there. So he wants to penetrate with the rook here. I need to stop that. Threatening mate. So if only I could check and take a pawn, but I don't see it happening. Let's activate the king. Okay, I don't want to trade. Let's see how long I can avoid it. A trade would be bad news for me. Going into a losing king and pawn endgame. If I move the king, the queen can penetrate to this square, so let's not do that. Now, this is interesting. So I go here with check. Queen takes, pawn takes. I might be able to hold this endgame. Let's see. Try to transpose into a draw. Because I have one pawn holding back two, and his king can't really break through here. I can't get in either. Ooh, he steps up here. He steps up there. That was bad. Yeah, my hopes of holding this endgame consisted of keeping his king out of these key squares, keeping it back. I control a lot of them, but I can't control both of these. And my king needs to be here, and it's not. So if I step up here, he'll step up. Let's just resign and play another game. Let's get a rapid game this time. Try and put a little more thought into the game. Okay, king, pawn forward. So I did a Scandinavian, I did a lichess, I did a French. Is it time to go back to Sicilian? I could play a e6 Sicilian. Haven't done that in a while. Gonna go for the Khan variation. Oh, it looks like he knows his stuff. Puts the bishop here behind the knight. Usually not possible because the knight is under attack, but here the knight is not under attack, so that's a fine square for the bishop. So this is the main line, actually. And I don't know much more than this. I just like the idea. The queen is here. It's a bit funny to develop the queen first, but the queen is controlling this square for the moment, so it's safe to develop your knight. You can also bring the bishop out to, yeah, with tempo on this knight. And if the knight goes back, I think the bishop drops back here. But he defends it. Okay. That means we develop here. Apparently so. I don't want the messed up pawn structure here, so I'll go ahead and defend, I mean, with the bishop. I'll go ahead and retreat my bishop and defend. So I'm one move away from castling. You can now push this pawn. I could play one pawn up to stop that. I could play the pawn up 2 squares, let him push and move away. I'll go with the one pawn up. Just buy myself a little time, get castled. Maybe I could even push on with e5 at some point, depending on how white plays. I think I'll kick the bishop next to give my king a little breathing room. Also, that's another square for the knight to retreat to when he plays e5. But maybe I will play e5 now because this light squared bishop looks pretty good. He left the game. Well, let's see how he does. Let's, he's back. Okay. Yeah, retreats the bishop. Yeah, so I definitely will kick it. I was thinking about that move anyway. Let's just go ahead and play it. Now, knight here would attack the bishop, but the bishop can retreat and the queen can take the knight, so two problems with that idea. Let's get my light squared bishop off the back rank. If I put it here, it's poking at this pawn. Not that I could take it. If I take it, he pushes the b pawn forward and it's trapped back there. But I might have been able to rescue it. So looks like he's going for a lock on this square. Let's see, if I push, he takes, I take, he takes. Then this pawn will become unstable, is the problem. But he's got this bishop here that looks kind of locked in. Let's bring the knight around. See, when he pushes his pawn forward, he's attacking this a pawn. But it'd be a trade. I would take this pawn. Actually, I would take this pawn and defend the a pawn. So we go here. He wisely decided to defend the c pawn before I got my knight there, so he can retreat the bishop without leaving this undefended. I think now, though, push forward. I like this. This is maybe a little bit under fire, but he can't promote this pawn. Can't push it forward to undermine my e pawn. And let's see, I could consider playing f5. How about it? f5, he takes, I take, bishop takes, rook takes, and then double. So he goes that way. So let's think about this. I take, he'll take with the bishop to get maximum pressure over here, but this will be defended by queen and bishop still. And his bishop will be here, his pawn will be here. The knight is defending this bishop, so I could consider playing f5 then. So I take, he takes, I play f5. He moves the bishop out of the way. I have to trade rooks. No, I'll have a bishop here. Let's see. So how's this go? I take, he takes. I play f5. He takes, bishop takes. Bishop takes, rook takes. And then when this bishop moves, then I can trade. And this is defended by my queen. The rook can come over. Okay, how about after I push, he pushes the pawn. And then I can just take and He can take back. It's a trade. And then I have to move my queen, which could go over here. I think it all works. And let's see, at the end of the day, my queen can step over here, getting on this nice diagonal, or here, if I have to keep this defended. If he tries taking here, I can take this rook with check, so that will not work. Queen takes rook, queen takes bishop. Well, I was just thinking, I could just bring my rook over now and defend my rook. When I take the rook, he has a lot of choices how to take back. Do I have anything clever with my knight? Not seeing it. Here, you know what he'll do? He'll take with the knight so that he has maximum pressure there. Let's bring this rook over. And then unpin the queen so I can push this pawn forward. So he goes there with the knight before I have a chance. Okay, so but I can take here now. And I can take here. I have a check now. That's pretty devastating. Well, no, it's not. He just steps over and this is still defended. Yeah, another player went down a line where there's just a lot of trades. Maybe he thought he was winning a pawn at the end of the day. He does have pressure here. He can move this pawn. But I think I have time. I think I have time to unpin first. So like if I put my queen here, I'll be defending both these pawns and I'll be able to push this one forward. In this position, exactly. Need to keep this pawn defended. And I'm controlling this square here where he has a check. So I think just pushing forward with d5 is good. Could result in a passed pawn for me. Also opens up the bishop along this diagonal, keeping these pawns restrained. And I have this check towards his king along this diagonal when I want to use it. tricky position. I guess I would be trying to mobilize these pawns on the queen side if I was white. He's moving ahead on the king side. Okay, let's go here. That was the plan. Yeah, I want the queen on the board to help promote that passed pawn. And here, this is just asking for trouble. I put the bishop here first. Queen takes, and then I push the pawn. Probably a little too radical. He's trying to blockade with the queen. The queen is not a good blockader. And it's an even worse. It's even worse when it's on a diagonal that your opponent has a bishop of. Okay, well, that was 3 games. A win, a loss, a win. They weren't the best played games ever, but they were kind of fun. Okay, here, let's go to the analysis board. We have a few minutes here. And let's back up and see if I had any advantage. Say it's his turn. His last move was obviously a horrible mistake, but is it really all that? It's completely even. So the advantage of the passed pawn is not very great, huh? Not enough, anyway, to win. He just needs to get the queen off the diagonal, and that's a draw. Okay, that's what I wanted to know. Let's well, that's it for this video, and I will see you all next time. Bye now.